to the channel Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my movie reviews. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for tuning in, stopping by and checking it out. If you don't know what I'm doing here, well, I'm looking at the Sawfilm franchise in the lead up to Saw 10. I'm calling it SAWtember. Speaking of SAWtember, don't forget to check out my good friend Kerry over at Kerry Crave Cinema. She is also doing SAWtember. Make sure you go over, check her out. I'll pop the link down below. Subscribe to her channel. Definitely worth it and you won't regret it. Now, this week we are looking at the 5th installment in the Saw franchise, appropriately titled Saw 5. This is my Blu-ray copy here. There's a few features on it, special features on there. Inside cover. That is also part of a alternate poster, which I'll also pop up somewhere as well. I actually really enjoy the, there we go. Also enjoy this image here, which is here as well, of course, but because one of the things with the Saw franchise is you get to a certain point where how do you keep going when the main character's dead? Well, you have someone else wear the face of Johnkramer or the Jigsawkiller. But anyway, this film came out in 2008. It was directed by David Hackle. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. H-A-C-K-L. Hackle? Okay. The film again stars tobinbell, costasmandylor, Scottpatterson, Betsy Russell, juliebenz, Mark Rolston, Carlo Rota, and many, many more. Now, a few of you will know Mark Rolston from Aliens. Juliebenz, of course, Darla from Buffy and Angel. Carlo Rota was in the 24 film series. He's been in a lot of things as well. So yeah, it's a really diverse cast with a lot of good actors in it. So, Saw 5. What can I say about the 5th installment in the long-running Saw franchise? Well, unfortunately, this one continues a trend of diminishing returns that has plagued this series since its initial success. The first film was groundbreaking, let's be honest. We all love that twist at the end, this single point of setting, predominantly in that dirty, filthy bathroom. It really captured something there. But since then, it struggled to capture the same level of innovation and terror. So yeah, it's had some good moments, but this is the tipping point for the series for me. Now, that is not to say this is a bad film, but let's get into it. I will be discussing plot specifics and there will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen it, you've been warned. Now, directly from IMDb, following Jigsaw's grisly demise, Mark Hoffman is commended as a hero, but Agent Strom is suspicious and delves into Hoffman's past. Meanwhile, another group of people are put through a series of gruesome tests. Now, one of the most glaring issues that I found with Saw 5 is its reliance on a tired and predictable storytelling. The film follows the formula of its predecessors. A group of strangers are trapped in a series of elaborate death traps. And as they struggle to survive, it's up to a detective, in this case, Agent Strom, and his attempts to unravel the mystery behind the traps and their connection to the Jigsaw Killer. However, by the 5th installment, this formula has grown somewhat stale. The traps themselves are no longer as shocking or inventive, and I will get into that a little bit in the writing, because I do have a theory behind that, but, you know, whatever. And the plot twists as well do feel a little forced and a bit contrived. Now let's look at the cast, because you do have your mainstays of this cast. Currently it is tobinbell, costasmandylor, Scottpatterson, who's been in the couple, and Betsy Russell. The additional characters we'll touch on as well. So, one of the strengths that these films have, or at least the previous films, was its character development. There was a lot of that in the side characters, in the ones in the traps, in the detectives. There was a lot of that, and I really did enjoy them building that up. This film attempts to delve into the backstory of Jigsaw and his accomplices a little bit more, and it does provide some insight into their motivations and relationships. However, they do feel half-hearted at best. The characters that are in the traps remain one-dimensional, and really they are quite uninteresting. I actually really didn't care whether they lived or died. In fact, most of them are pricks, and I really didn't want any of them to escape. So yeah, now that's these, I guess, these side characters. Look at costasmandylor. You know, he delivers a solid performance again as Hoffman. He portrays Hoffman's growing paranoia and utter ruthlessness in a very different way than the cold and clinical Jigsaw was. Like, he was very methodical. Hoffman seems a little bit more stab happy. Strom, Scott Agent Strom, his character, it adds a fresh perspective to the film. His escape from the trap at the end of Saw 4 into Saw 5, it does provide a fresh perspective. He's relentless as an investigator. His character arc is one of the highlights of Saw 5. The way he pieces things together, his performance, it adds depth to the character, and it does make Strom a compelling counterpart to Hoffman. In that regards. Now, like I said, the other characters inconsequential really in the long-term things, because, and I say they're inconsequential because they do, well, at least one, maybe two of them survive at the end, which should play into this, not the next sequel, the 7th film, should play into that, but no, they don't, and they're of no consequences. So let's okay, drop that, move on. The directing and writing. Cinematography in Saw 5 maintains the franchise's gritty and dark aesthetic. Like, as through all the other films, there is a certain tone to it, and it's done perfection. Chef's kiss to that. The use of dimly lit and grimy settings, it enhances the atmosphere of dread and tension. That opening scene where, I think it's the necktie trap or something it's called, where they've got these ropes around their neck which are going to put them into a guillotine in 60 seconds. There is a lot of tension there, and you feel like it's really set up quite well. The filmmakers continue to employ rapid editing and unsettling close-ups to keep you on edge throughout the film, so that is well done. Where Saw 5 falters is in its attempts to weave a complex narrative. I have enjoyed the story arcs of the characters and the way they do weave it in. However, while previous films in the series managed to juggle multiple storylines and timelines effectively, this installment feels disjointed and a little bit confusing. The constant shifting between the past and present makes it difficult to really connect with the characters or fully understand their motivations. The film also, like I said, the film introduces these new characters which are underdeveloped, and it leaves you struggling to invest in their fates. You really don't care. The actual, all the previous victims have had a reason to be there. These ones, they did have a reason somewhat, but I don't think it was as justified or enough to really get into. There was no connection. Like, you know why Amanda was in there. You know that. You learn that. You know, all the people in the traps in Saw 2, you know why they're there. Because they were victims of Detective Eric Matthews, for lack of a better term. They may have been incorrectly arrested or whatever. You know, that's why his son was in there, so you get that. But this one, they were real estate developers and worked for council, and one was an investigative journalist. Like, there was just, it didn't feel right. Like, those characters being in there didn't feel right. But then again, that is also a reason why they were in there, because Mark Hoffman is a very different Jigsaw to John Kramer. Those two are very different in their reasoning for putting these people in the traps. But also, look, the constant flashbacks and explanations can feel tiresome, and they actually slow down the pacing of this film. The effects, well, the Saw series has always been known for its traps, grisly and whatnot, and Saw 5 is no exception. I mentioned the trap with the chops the head off one of the characters. It's the necktie trap. Sorry, I just had a complete mental blank there. The necktie trap drags him back, snaps the head off. If you look closely at the body that's on the ground, you can see like little twitches in the hand and feet. Really well done. Really well done that. I did enjoy that. Now, the problem is this film does not reach the same heights of shock value as some of its predecessors because we've seen it before. We know what's coming. But there are those little things like what I just mentioned which do stand out for me. The traps in this installment are still creative and they're still really sadistic. And the way it ties together with the initial Jigsaw video, you know, go against your instinct, you know, because then when you get to the end, they see why they had to play against their instinct. So I did like that, and that, again, those traps all lead to why they should have listened to it. The bathtub one, you know, there's the, there was an explosion one, I didn't quite get that, but I love the bathtub one, that was good. And then of course you've got the final trap where they have to put their hand in. So this film has everything. It has explosions, it has decapitations, it has exsanguination, electrocution. You know, what more do you want? Yeah. The film's, it does place a heavy emphasis on set pieces, and that's at the expense of character development and a coherent storyline. That's probably its biggest flaw. Rewatchability. Now, rewatchability. Look, the rewatchability of Saw 5 depends on your personal taste for horror and your interest in the series' overarching narrative. Your ability to handle graphic and violent content also plays into these films, but if you're a fan of the Saw franchise or of the horror genre in general, you may find it worth revisiting, but due to the rather poor character development in this one, it's not going to the top of my list. In fact, this would be one of the lowest of the Saw films, in my opinion. So overall, I find Saw 5 to be a disappointing addition to the franchise. While it delivers some gruesome traps and gore that the fans love, it falls short in terms of storytelling, character development, and overall suspense. It feels formulaic. It feels like you've been there, done that, and it just kind of makes it a nothing film. Die-hard Saw fans may find some enjoyment in the gruesome spectacle of the events that unfold, but for most viewers, this installment is, like I said, it's a forgettable entry into an otherwise iconic franchise. So overall, for a score, I would give Saw 5 5 out of 10. There you have it. That is my review of Saw 5. Have you seen this film? What did you think of this? Let me know down in the comments below. I love hearing from you about your thoughts about this movie. You know, it's always good to hear. So, look, wanted to say a big thank you to everyone for tuning in with this one. It's been fun, this franchise. Like, it's taken me a bit to get through it, but we're almost at the end. We're halfway through. I'm getting excited because I'm seeing little threads here and there which make me want to, you know, get more into it, and that are going to tie into, hopefully, Saw X or Saw 10, whatever you want to call it. But are you guys looking forward to Saw 10 as well? I know I am. You can probably tell that. But look, if you haven't already, you know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up, be much appreciated. And of course, if you have not already, please do subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell for future content. You're notified every time I do release a new video. Like I said, we're going through the Saw franchise. Once that's done, it's spooky season, and you know what that means. That's right, it's the 31 days of horror, 31 days of Halloween, whatever you want to call it. 31 days, every day, I will be releasing a new 60-second review of a horror film. And I'm going back to something that I originally started on my channel, the ABCs of horror. So I'll be looking at a film, starting with a numbered film, and then going from A through to Z. And hey, I've even got a couple of sneaky ones I'll throw in there to get it all up to 31, of course. But if there's anything that you want to see me review, let me know down in the comments below. Always happy to hear. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm rambling. Have a great day.